Hi folks, Rob Flux here from Property Developer Network, coming to you for yet another one of our Sunday sessions. Today's topic is called How to Stay on Track. It's some real life examples of tackling the ups and downs with my very special guests, Audrey and Prasanth. So guys, say hello to the world.
Hi everyone.
Hello everyone.
Thanks for joining.
For those of you who don't, out in Facebook land, who don't know who Audrey and Prasanth are, they are students in my Property Development Formula program. And the reason why they're here today is that Prasanth did a very personal share into our students alumni group the other day with regards to how he was going through and dealing with some of the challenges of the, I guess, the ups and downs of the property development process, and in particular, what was happening in and around the COVID environment. And the message was that powerful that I thought I would like to get both him and his wife, Audrey, on to share with the world so that they can get some of the gems that Prasanth was actually sharing the other day. So with your permission, guys, we're going to go deep today.
Interesting. Okay. Let's go.
So let's start with, because there's a lot of people out there who don't know you guys. So why don't we just start with, where did you start your property development journey? So, you know, going back a little while, where did you start, and what was the trigger and catalyst to actually start?
Yeah, so obviously we're from Melbourne. So we started back in 2013. It was our first house that we bought. It was just our principal place of residence. But we always knew that it wasn't our first, like it wasn't a dream home. So we knew we had some not goals as such. Like it was just very general goals. The main thing was money, making money. Simple as that. It was nothing more than that. All we did was looked at location. It was nothing to do with where we wanted to live. It was more about where the potential is for making some money. So that was where we started.
Okay, so you bought just to clarify, you bought a PPR that you thought had some development uplift in an area that you thought would be profitable.
Yeah.
How much science did you put into that at that point in time? Like, you know, feasibilities and due diligence? And
Nothing.
Nothing.
It wasn't much at all. I had a bit of experience with property development in terms of work experience, but it was always someone else's money, or I'm just doing bits and pieces here and there and not really piecing the whole project together. So we pretty much did very basic, tick the boxes, close to public transport, close to shops, good schools.
Close to CBD.
Yeah, close to CBD. So it's about 11 kms from Melbourne CBD.
Yep.
Apart from that, we didn't do a FISO or analyze the 1,000,001 things that you need to be looking at when you buy a property for potential in it.
Okay, so what potential did you think it had, given that you didn't put much science into it?
Okay, so based on the basic, it was on the main road, and across the street or across the main road was commercial zone. I had a block of 12 apartments next door to us, and all the buyers didn't like it because, oh my God, people are going to look into my backyard. But the way I looked at it was, hang on, block of apartments next door. Hey, yeah.
You can get the same.
Hopefully I can get something along the same lines. So just based on those small tick points, it was 200 meters from the train station. It was in the school zone for one of the secondary schools, public ones, which is really good. So tick, tick, tick. And yeah, we basically just based it on that.
Okay, so with that in mind, you, I guess, took on a journey. How long did you keep it as your PPR before you actually started to try to add the value through the property development process?
Yeah, we started doing the DA process pretty much within 6 months of us moving in there.
Okay.
Because we knew we knew at the time, I think there were some changes to rules in Victoria as well with open space requirements. So we wanted to get it in before that. So within 6 months of moving, we took our time though. It took 2 years to actually do the DA. We were very slow. We left a lot of it to our consultants and the architect. The thing that one of the challenges with that was the consultants and the architects, they treated us as mom and dad investors, which we were at the time. So there's a big difference when they see you as professionals rather than mom and dad investors. So.
In what way? When you say they treat you differently, what were some of the things that you experienced?
Well, firstly, there was I didn't have any experience. The terms that I was using, like very basic. When they were telling me a few things in relation to property development, I was, what is that? You know, so I was learning along the way. Audrey was a bit more knowledgeable in that space, but for me, it was asking them, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, yeah, and we didn't really push. Like I said, it took 2 years. We didn't really push for them to do it any quicker. Firstly, because it was a PPR, we were in no rush to complete it. Yeah, we just went along with it.
And did you end up getting the 12 units that they got next door, Audrey?
Well, we went for 10 and we got 10 apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, with them treating us as mom and dad kind of venture was because we didn't have really clear timelines and goals on what we wanted to achieve because it was a PPR. So during that 2 years, pretty much got pregnant, went on maternity leave, continued living in the house. It's a PPR anyway. And because of that, sometimes the architect took 2 to 3 months to come back with an amendment. And if this was a business venture and we wanted to do it as professional property developers, in 3 weeks, I would say, hey, what's happening, man? Push the button, let's go, let's go. But because we didn't do that and the architect knew that we weren't pressed for time, he just took his own time. And that's why I said we were treated differently.
Okay, so was that, and this is for the benefit of the audience, was that them treating you differently or you not treating them professionally and saying, hey, I want it back in a timely manner? Where do you think where do you think that responsibility lay?
I think it lies with us in the first place, because if we treat them the way professionally, and they'll do the same with us. So absolutely, that we were more responsible in that, and that's the reason we wanted, we changed everything and educated ourselves.
Yeah.
So
so you've run that whole project first time, no experience, and like how long did that take, and what was the success at the end of it? What was the finished product? You know, what was the profit margins, all that? How did that play out for you?
Yeah, so basically it ended up taking us 2 years to get the DA because we treated it more as a hobby and we didn't press all the consultants to get stuff done earlier. So we pretty much bought the property and spent maybe about 50 to 75K in DA approvals with the consultants. And we ended up selling it for double what we bought it for. In the space, it took us 2 years to get the DA, but a further 2 years before we actually sold the property because we didn't want to move while our daughter was still really young. So we sold it 2 years after the DA. So we pretty much held the property for 4 years. So in a way, lucky in terms of capital growth, the value went up, but also because we had a DA on the site, we sold it for double. And because again, it's a PPR, it was tax-free. So it was good.
But pretty good win for your first go with no experience. Yeah. Like you guys would have to be really happy with that. Like, so where were you feeling at the end of that? Were you excited because of the fact that you made the money? Were you disappointed because it took you 4 years to make the money? Where were you sitting?
Oh,
happy. We were really happy. Treated all our close family and friends like just a group of 20, small group, but a really nice treat to share our happiness with them. And based on that win, we were able to, I guess, buy 2 more properties from equity itself. And then that's on to the next 2 projects.
Very good. So, and what lessons do you learn out of that first phase of the journey, going in as that pure, that pure unexperienced novice?
I think it comes down to, like, what I'm trying to say is it comes down to learning along the way. Even though you may be novices in the beginning, you will learn if you're guided properly. But that's one thing, we didn't get proper guidance, but Audrey had that experience, and her company obviously did those sort of things in their work. So I learned a lot from Audrey as well. So. Very
good. And so then took on 2 more properties. So tell me about those and what they, I guess what they were. So one as another PPR project, and what was the second one?
The second one was a 700 square meter size of land that we bought in 2017, and that we had a DA for 3 townhouses, and took us about a year to get a DA. And with the PPR, we decided that we liked the location, and because the house is really old, the land again is about 700 square meters, we can potentially do a 3-pack, but because we do want to live here, we decided we'll do 2 townhouses side by side, but really nice. So the location is good, and the boxes that this one ticked was, again, is close to a really good school, cafes, shops, and all of that. Plus also because it had triple frontage, so we're looking about 20 meters in front. I felt that 2 big white townhouses would go a lot better than 2 long ones in this location. And based on that, we had the DAs approved for 2 townhouses for our PPR, and the DA, that took about a year and a half. So that is when we decided, look, we're doing things right, we are getting traction, we are heading somewhere with our journey, but hey, I'm sure someone else out there knows a lot better than us. There's better ways to do it, more efficient, better return for your investments. And that's when I started looking around for guidance, and that's how I found you, Rob.
Thank you. Okay, so what was that experience? So I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the search for a mentor. Like, what did that journey involve for you guys?
Can we take it? Yeah. I'll take this one because I was pretty much the one that told Prashant about your program and yourself, Rob, and I would say I'm pretty lucky in life in the sense that usually when I want something and when I'm looking for something comes my way, like honestly, I don't have to look far. So even the first project that we did with our PPR, it kind of fell into our hands because it all started off as a joke. Look at that Barbie doll house, oh my God. And we ended up buying it and made a profit from it. And with discovering mentors, I didn't go through 100 different courses, which a lot of people do. But somehow I happened onto your Facebook group, and I really liked the feel with that community there, because I feel that everyone was there to help each other, whereas we are totally, let's help someone else, and we're very generous that way. But we found that most people are actually not like that. So when I came across the group and I had that good vibe, and that was the first time I went to the group. And in that one session, I so happened to see a post saying, hey, just left Sydney, I'm going to Melbourne, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, there's something happening in Melbourne. And that's when I actually sent you a message, and then I get oh, we had that session this evening and you've just missed it. So, quite devastating, but again, the luck that we have, you were kind enough to meet us the very next morning before leaving.
We met at the airport.
That's it. We met at the airport, and so happened Prashant had a day off as well. Yeah. So it's like tick, now let's go. And that's when we caught up with yourself and Tony at the airport, and we never looked back.
Yeah, well, so what I would say to that for anyone out there, so it doesn't matter what it is that you're chasing or who it is you're chasing, if you're chasing a mentor or coach or anything like that, you guys pursued me, right? And because you pursued me is when I went, okay, I've got some time, and you're going to have to fit my schedule, but I can make it happen. But if you don't ask, you'll never get. Now, maybe my calendar wouldn't allow that, but how do you know unless you ask? And you guys actually put yourselves out there and asked, and it all worked out for you. So, and I guess you were silly enough to still believe me at the end of the conversation, and here we are here, right? So, so what was it that you were seeking in a mentor, right? What was the catalyst that you were looking for?
So, like when we first started out, we didn't have any experience. So we wanted to set realistic, specific goals, and follow, and we needed guidance in following those goals, and also technical knowledge, someone who knows the various insights into property development. I think that's what we were looking at, and you happen to have that along with Tony, who's a coach, which pretty much gave us like 2 for 1, if you think about it that way. Well, as we did the property, the psychology of property development in Melbourne prior to joining your course, that involved how you change your mindset and how you look at property development, and that really helped me change my beliefs about what I can do and what I cannot do.
Yeah, thank you, mate. So for those in the audience who don't know what that Psychology Property Development event is, it's a 2-day weekend that is on mindset, but set in a property context. And the idea being that we break down limiting beliefs and we show you how to set your goals and break those goals down into action plans and prioritize them. And you walk away with, I guess, the framework that becomes a 5-year property action plan that will aim you towards your financial freedom goal. So that's the intent of the 2-day weekend. And it's not a weekend that most people expect when they come to a property event, is it, guys?
Nah, it was full on, and by the end of the night, you're like, wow, I can't take anything else in. It's like, wow, it's full on.
So okay, so what does wow mean, Audrey?
I think you're just buzzing at the end of it. You just want to get and do things straight away.
Yeah.
But this is you need to have a lot of patience in property development. It's not, go out there and just buy and sell like we did in the first one.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of feasibility and a lot of due diligence. So it's a lot more than what I thought it was when I first started.
Well, and you say that now, but you did. You purchased 3 properties without the feasibility and without the due diligence, and so knowing what you know now, what would you say about the outcomes that you got the first time round as an uneducated person? Would you say that was luck? Would you say it was right place, right time? How do you explain the fact that you got success when many others don't?
It's a combination of luck as well as looking out for, ticking the boxes. you can't just go and buy, wherever you want, and expect to make a profit. Like Audrey was saying, there were certain things that we were looking at, even without joining a course. It has to be close to public transport, it has to be close to school, cafes if possible, and close to the CBD, in which it ticked all the boxes. And similarly, with the 2 new ones we bought, it ticks the same boxes.
And having now done the course, do you have a few more boxes that you need to tick?
Absolutely, yes.
A few more is an understatement. Many other boxes to tick.
I guess one of the things that I tell people is that 90% of sites that are developable are not profitable. Okay, and so it's one of those things where if you don't check all the boxes, you may get something that may break even, may make a very small profit, or unfortunately may not make a profit at all. And so, the being really careful and being very deliberate in the process is something that I care very much about. There's a few too many people who think that property development is a get-rich-quick scheme, and it's not. It's get rich, but not quick. Yeah. So
especially in Victoria.
Victoria. Yes. Well, at the moment, so at the end of that 2-day weekend, you guys set yourself a whole bunch of goals. So we help you to just help to set your life goals and that sort of thing. So what were those goals at that point in time? And give us some insights into what you thought you were going to achieve in the next 5 years.
Yeah. So basically getting the 3 properties and getting the DAs without joining your course. We did it without a specific goal. So the goal is pretty much, I want to make profit. I want to get financial freedom someday. Could be 30 years, 20 years, however long it is. But based on the whole psychological weekend, I guess the main thing that came out of it was the change of mindset totally. So before we were both, let's do property development as a hobby, I think we can do it. And it was also a mix of being a property investor. So sometimes it's buying and then just holding and knowing that, if you buy good property, good location, it would most likely double in every 10 years. You buy crap property, you've got crap property. Doesn't matter how many years it is. So based on that, we were kind of doing it hobby and property investments. Whereas after we went for the weekend, the whole mindset totally changed. It's like, hang on, it's not a hobby. We're professional property developers because we are in it to make the money. Proper timelines, if you do your due diligence, your money is going to work for you. And all that will then reduce your risk. So that's one component of it, just changing your mindset totally. And then it's the big why. Why do we want to do it? So the whole, we want financial freedom. Yeah, everybody wants financial freedom. Who doesn't want that? Yeah, so it's for us, end of the day, was back down to family. We've got a young daughter, and we would love to be able to spend time with her anytime we want to, and not bound to a 9-to-5 job or having to work on weekends because your boss demanded it. So it's financial freedom in the sense that we choose when we want to work, not because we have to. And then being able to enjoy holidays and going overseas, and that's our why as a family, a small family unit. And based on the why, we then work on the goals. What do we need to achieve? Whatever it is. So our goal is then to get maybe a passive income of $100,000 a year with working when we want to, and also through property development. And having that big goal and working backwards to what do I need to get that X amount of properties or properties to that value to give you the rental. And then you work back, how many years will it take us to achieve it? And then with your guardians, with Tony's guardians as well, it's like, hang on, if you can do it in 5 years, why not do it in 4 years or maybe 3 years? So that helped to, I guess, fine tune our goal and what we can do to shorten the time of
I think
being financially free.
The important thing is you need to be realistic with the goals as well, and not.
With your guidance, with Tony's guidance as well, it's like, hey, look, can we years? Why not do it in 4 years?
Sorry.
So that helps to, I guess, find a lag and what we can do to shorten time of being financially free.
The important thing is you need to be realistic with the goals as well.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I've just got a bit of a lag that's just happened there. My apologies. Some technical challenges in the background. It just looped and started playing the other thing. So humble apologies for the vacant airspace that in there. Okay, so knowing those goals, but I guess you touched on, I guess everybody wants financial freedom, but I don't think most people actually realize what financial freedom is. It's that passive income enough passive income to pay your debts and give yourself time. That's really if you can have your debts paid and food on the table and fuel in the car and telephone paid for and kids at school, all that sort of stuff, you don't need to work. And so time is the one valuable commodity. And then I guess your goals then start to become, what do I do with my time? Where do I do? In your instance, you said family and travel. For other people, it's I guess help the poor. For other people, it's go overseas and help build communities. There's lots of different things that people want to do, or because you now have choice, you could say, well, I'm going to keep working harder and earn a bit more money and now build a nicer lifestyle and get the nice house and the nice car. And I guess that's kind of the layer above. But the romance has been sold that we need the mansion and we need the nice car. And everyone thinks that's financial freedom. But financial freedom is really just buying your time. So is that kind of the revelation you guys walked away with from that weekend, or?
Yeah, definitely. I would say because it's not all about money. It's about serving the community as well. And this community that we have here is one of those examples. We help each other. We learn from each other.
And Prashant's dream with financial freedom will enable him to do something that he's passionate about. And he would like to open a yoga retreat someday and serve the community that way.
Someday.
Sorry, I had an internet connection, guys. You didn't even notice me disappear, but I'm back. So yoga retreat, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my wife owns a massage clinic, so it's not quite yoga, but one of the freedoms that I get is that the ability to, I guess, go and get massages I won't say at will, but as often as I need them. So,
nice.
Okay. So I guess now that you're in the program and you're on your journey and you're going towards your thing, you are on a really good trajectory. And I guess, and this theme of today is around the ups and downs that have kind of been happening in and around us. So the world threw us a bit of a curveball with COVID, didn't it?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yes. So how did that impact you guys specifically, being based in Melbourne and being in lockdown not once but twice? So how did that impact you personally? How did it impact your projects? What's actually happened sitting around those?
I think with COVID hitting Melbourne twice, I think the first time it was not so bad in March. I think everyone felt that across Australia, but and it wasn't as severe as the second lockdown. The first one, I think we just went along, moved along with our lives. A bit more cautious with what we did and where we went, but we still had a little bit of time to do our day job, to do some property development stuff, do some research, as well as that was when we actually, in February this year is when we signed the contract with the builder to build, start construction. So.
And did the builder get impacted? Did they slow down at all? Or?
Yes, it was a couple of months delay, but I think he's doing a pretty good job now bringing it up to speed. So he hasn't indicated that there are going to be any delays on completion.
Okay, that's good. That's great. But then the second round of lockdown came down, and that clearly had a little bit more impact on you guys, both at the personal level and the project level. So how did that happen the second time around?
Yeah, the second one, it was more severe, like I said, and it was obviously difficult for a lot of people in Melbourne, particularly, and we were no different. So we were trying to cope with no childcare. My daughter was home, and we were both working from home, doing our day jobs as well. So we didn't have that liberty of time that we had previously to do what we were meant. Like, I used to get up at 4:30 every morning prior to the lockdowns to do my research on property, then go to work and do my 8 hours, 9 to 5 job. And my daughter went to childcare, came back in the evening, spent some time. Yeah, it was repeat. But when COVID hit, it all changed. We were getting really frustrated because we couldn't really get on. We were under pressure from our day jobs to do a day job, as well as try and focus on property and look after our daughter because she was home. So all these things were just, these emotions were just, we're getting frustrated. We were getting less motivated to do things as well. But then we're like, no, we need to sit down and change the way we do things. So we ended up having a chat and saying, let's change this, the way we do things. Let's change it and focus on why we're actually doing what we're doing. Like what we said before, it was our why, our purpose is to spend quality time with our family. And if we can't do that now, there's no point.
Well, so that's the irony, right? Is a lot of us set these goals to say, I want to spend more time with my family. Now you're locked in the same building 100% of the time with the family. You've got exactly what you asked for. And all of a sudden it seems like a burden until you actually take the time and go, hang on a minute, but this is actually what I wanted. So when you had that shift, and that was largely the message you shared into our alumni group, but when you had that shift, what impact did that have on your surroundings? Because the situation hadn't changed, but just your perspective on the situation changed.
So I think when we sat down and had a chat and pretty much discovered, our why again, we're like, we need to have a structure. We can't just keep going like this. We need to have a daily routine in place. So we decided to, fortunately, I'm very thankful for this. Is I have a very flexible job, and Audrey's got her own mortgage broking business. She works from home, so it's quite flexible. So like I said previously, I used to get up at 4:30, so I changed that a little bit in the sense that I put my property research on hold temporarily until the restrictions are lifted. So we focus more on our job and focus more on our family. So that was the big change. We got this big goal that we want to achieve financial freedom, but that financial freedom leads to spending time with family. Right? And if we don't have that.
Yeah, and I guess if as an outsider, what I saw is you were trying to get the financial freedom for the family time, And then when you realize that you're actually having that family time anyway by reprioritizing your job, you were able to shift your timeline for your financial freedom out a little bit without having a conscious impact on, oh my God, I failed my goal, because you actually had achieved a kind of mini goal, so to speak. And was kind of reinvigorating the fact that, yes, that goal is really important, but right now, let's just get through this little crisis and not get overwhelmed by it. And, you know, that was kind of the powerful message that I got out of your chat, Prasant. So are there any other insights that you'd like to share, but either or both of you, with regards to shifting the perspective that you actually look at things?
Yeah. So basically, the reason we had to shift and review what we were going through was because we were both trying to work our full-time jobs at the same time. And then each of us tried to give our daughter a bit of time here and there. And then we were getting really tired with that. So we were getting impatient with each other. And we were also getting really impatient with our daughter, which end of the day is not fair, because she understands we have to work, but she's a 5-year-old. She needs attention. So I can't say no to that. So the shift that we did was the whole mindset, hang on, why are we getting so agitated with working? Like for myself, the reason I started my own mortgage business is so that I can have time with my daughter. Anytime. I don't need a boss to say, no, you have to do this right now. And when all that happened and I started getting frustrated, I then pulled myself in and go, hang on, isn't this why you started your own business? So I gave myself a bit of a kick. And then we started being a bit kind to each other. We discussed them like, okay, you do kind of the morning shift, you do your work, and I'll look after our daughter till past lunchtime. And then, that's it, we switch. It's my turn to work, and I'll focus as much as I can for the next 3 to 4 hours and do as much, while he then spends daddy-daughter time. And that's worked out really well, because we then spend time as a family together in the evening, and the whole day goes reasonably smoothly. We're all calm, at ease, enjoying each other's company, as opposed to it's work, I need to do this, and I'm answerable to A, B, and C. But no, end of the day, it's the family that matters. And that whole shift of mindset took away a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And we're happier for it.
And we still had to deal with the current project. We still had to, pay the builder. We still had to choose certain things at different stages of the construction. So we still had to work in property itself, and not just totally forget about it.
Yeah, you're still progressing forward on everything. But the way you described that, Audrey, I liken that to looking at a Rubik's Cube. So if we put a Rubik's Cube between you and me right now, I would see the green face and you would see the blue face.
Yeah.
Now it's the same Rubik's Cube. And so we're just seeing a different perspective on it, and we can look at it on a whole bunch of different angles. And it's the problem that sits in front of us is very often, the same. But if we can change our perspective and see something different, then we can actually, deal with that in a very different way, which you guys, I think, did very elegantly and very, very well. So kudos to you guys with that. So, that said, we're like 40 minutes into this chat. That's gone pretty quick so far. Why don't we, go out and see if there's any questions from, Facebook land, and see if anyone's got any questions for you guys as to how you've dealt with some of these things along the way. So now, before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remind people that we run these Facebook sessions every single Sunday. Well, not everyone, but majority of them at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is Brisbane, where I'm based. Right now, that works perfectly for Sydney and Melbourne at the same time, but daylight saving, that does change from time to time. We also have a couple of Facebook communities, which are our Property Developer Network group, and one called Development Site Deal Hub. So if anyone's interested in joining that community that Audrey and Prasanth were saying before are, very friendly and like to help and pay it forward, feel free to reach out and have a look at those guys there, and we would love to welcome you in. So let's see if I can find on Facebook where I've got, I'm just going to do a couple of button presses here to try and find where that disappeared. Every now and then it disappears. Here we go. So got lots of people saying, hey, everybody. So Luke, Frank, Sean, Vivian, Karen, and a whole bunch more. Hari's got a question. Never trust all of the professionals. They are lazy and a waste of time. That's a bit harsh, Hari. I wouldn't say that. My guidance on that would be that you always want to make sure that you're getting professional advice in all instances, but they will treat you as professionally as you treat them. And I think that was the lesson that you guys got out of that is, when you started treating it like a business, they started treating you like a business. But if you're going to treat it part-time, then of course they're going to treat you part-time as well. So now, what other questions have we got? So Kay Wong says, nice to not have to pay tax on your PPR. When and where was that project? So it was in Melbourne, Kay Wong, but I guess the thing with PPR, make sure you always get your independent legal tax advice. I guess they bought that very specifically with that PPR in mind and then got the uplift. If you go in with a different intent, the ATO can actually treat that very differently. So make sure you get your own independent advice on that one. Karen asked the question, why did it take so long? So I'm assuming she's talking about the first project taking 4 years.
Well, the project was 4 years, yes, but the DA itself was only 2 years.
Yeah. So why was that? Why did it take that long?
There was, well, we were a bit slack, I must say. I must admit, we were slack in pushing our consultants to do it quicker. And like what you were saying, it took one of the consultants 3 months to get back to us, and we were like, well, we're okay with that. But if we were more professional and if we pushed it, I think we would have got it sooner than that.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons we took our time as well is because we like the house and we enjoy living there. So even if we got the DA any earlier, that pretty much would then mean that we'll have to seek an extension further down the track anyway. And while applying for the DA, apart from the fact that the consultants took long and we didn't push them, obviously was because I was pregnant, I was finishing up with work. There's a lot of things I had to tie up first before, because I was there for about 6-7 years. So I had a lot of things to wrap up. So I didn't push it on the personal front. I was working long hours anyway. And then when the baby came, then it's, do I shower or should I go and call the architect? I'm going to have a shower. Thanks. So we took our time.
I understand that. So now, very special guest has Tony on here says, no, Audrey and Prasanth, proud of you both. So there you go. So Tony is one of our coaches in our programs and was the coach for Audrey and Prasanth. We also have another coach, Kylie, as well, that helps some of our other students. So it's always good when your coach is proud of you. So and equally, I am proud of, I guess, the progress that you guys are making. So Felicity says here, interesting stuff. Kudos to you both for finding a workable solution rather than just continuing to snipe at each other. So well done there. Kay Wong says, would you recommend the same architect and town planner to do similar work for you?
No.
It depends. So which project is it? I mean, we've already changed from the first project. We already changed architects and consultants.
Okay, so I'm guessing he was referring to the first one. Why did you change? What was the reason for changing?
Well, firstly, our strategy changed.
Okay.
Because the first one was apartments, and when we got the second and third one, we changed our strategy to townhouses. So I think depending on the strategy, you use different consultants for different strategies. So some may be specialists in apartments, some may be specialists in townhouses. Or not. We're still learning. We're still trying out various consultants to see who we can best work. So that's one of the things we actually learned along the way is to get a good team together.
Yeah.
An architect is one of and town planners, one of the major consultants.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a core set of consultants that not only need to be very good at what they do and very good with communicating with you, but they also need to play well with each other. There's no point having the best town planner on earth and the best architect on earth if they don't get along. You know, it's trying to have a team that kind of works like that is really, really important. So Julie's got a question. And it's a little bit of a repeat of the previous, but there's a spin on it. So I'll play out the spin. So knowing that your DA process took 1.5 years last time, since joining the program, would you do anything differently in your DA process?
Definitely. So just in terms of the basic looking for the property, so sourcing the property itself, there will be a way longer list of checklists of what we need to do. And as Rob was mentioning, with setting up your A team of consultants that you can pick up the phone, call and say, hey, I've got this one, what can we get, or what pitfalls are there? Having an A team there, you can pretty quickly decide whether that property is suitable or not. And then on top of that, now that we are, I guess, better at doing our feasors, we know what we need to include in all of that. And the main thing that we've learned from the course, from the knowledge base itself, Rob and Tony have definitely given us the mindset and the knowledge on how to ask better questions. Because you can ask a consultant one question and you get a specific answer, or you could ask it in a different way that would give you a better answer. And by having that knowledge on asking the right questions or asking better questions, you get better answers. When you get better answers, you're then able to go through the process a lot quicker, less risk, better, more efficient. So the next project we do, I'm pretty certain, apart from us not being able to control the council, beautiful Victoria Council, we should be able to get it done quicker in terms of if there's amendments, issues, anything to do with consultants, we'll be able to handle it a lot quicker and more efficient, better use of our time.
I think the other thing I would add to that also is when you're finalizing a deal, if you can get a longer settlement and then prepare, once you've signed the deal, prepare for the DA, and lodge it as soon as you settle, just lodge it. So
Absolutely. Well, even before you settle, if you've got the right conditions in your development approval to allow you to do that. So speed, I guess velocity of money, and I guess limiting your holding costs and all those sorts of things. Speed is very important. John's got a question that I'm not quite sure I understand, but I'll try and play it out anyway. Do you, and I'm assuming he's referring to you, do you these days get your consultant to review and agree to your development schedule? So you guys are running your own development schedule. Do you get your consultants to review that? And if so, at what stage?
So pretty much straight away, I think. As soon as we know whether it's developable and it's profitable, we get them in straight away. Yeah,
so I think where John's going, and I'm not quite sure here, but and maybe he can clarify it a little bit later, but certainly when it comes to, I guess we've got different parts of the schedule. So there's the DA stage, then there's the building approval stage, and then there's the construction stage. So you can have different consultants reviewing each of those different elements and make sure you got the right people at the right time. Hari's got a question. Audrey specifically, what does success look like to you in dollar value? Now, you did touch on that before, I guess, your financial freedom number. So I think that's what he's referring to. So what is your financial freedom number?
So our financial freedom number is 100K, and it's just gone up that little bit more because we've decided to send our daughter to private school. Hooray! Another 16 years or 12 years of that. So the figure's gone up to 100K. Having said that, by the projects that we're doing will enable us to already own our house outright anyway, which means that 100K is pretty much play money. It's not really to pay for repayments or car loans or thingy. And we don't spend much anyway. So apart from holidays, we live very basic lifestyles. We don't drive luxurious cars or we don't splurge. Unusual for female, but I don't like handbags, shoes, makeup.
So lucky.
Blah, blah.
Person well, Prasad.
Yeah.
So back to the question about success, I feel that you can't actually put a dollar value on success because you could have a multi-millionaire, billionaire who has that much money, but you're unhappy, or your family doesn't love you. That's the worst thing, yeah? So for me, success is having a happy family, people who are happy to be around me. I think it's very back to basics. It's just down to basics for me.
Back to the community.
Giving back to the community.
And what I would say, just to clarify for those out there, when you guys say 100K, we're talking about 100K passive income coming in, day out when you're not working, right? So, and rather than, hey, doing a project that makes 100K and you have to work hard on it, right? So very, very different outcome. So thank you for sharing that. And everyone's going to have their own different financial freedom number. We go through a bit of a process to try and help people actually work out what that needs to be in order to pay their bills. But everyone's got their own little journey they want to go on. So Liana's got a question. With regards to your current project, have you decided to implement any changes that help deal with any of the financial / timeframe impacts related to COVID?
I'll take it. So we haven't actually taken any holiday repayments for home loans. I know it's really good for cash flow. But again, we're lucky in a way where we don't need to do that. But again, because I'm a mortgage broker, I know that even though banks say that they will not penalize you when you do holiday repayments and all of that, it's true to a certain extent. But if you then try to refinance a loan, the incoming bank will then go, hang on, you've done a holiday repayment. And there's a whole bunch of issues that goes along with it. So we haven't taken any of the packages for COVID. And on the flip side, we are actually at this point going for funding for another project. And yeah, so it's just on and on. We keep going on.
You've got your little friend sitting behind you.
Yeah.
Hello again, Rainey. Say hello to Facebook. So we've got lots of people with some really great comments. So Karen said, great, she likes pushing as well. Peter's saying team is critical. Karen's saying, what is the highest and best use of the land for profit? I'm not sure which particular project she's referring to, but I might give that back in a. So highest and best use is the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. That is not the most amount of profit, and it is not the most amount of yield. It is how quickly can you get your money in and out with minimal hassle. And there are many, many times where I've taken less profit on the table because I can get the money in half the time. And, you know, doubling the timeline and not doubling the return wasn't a real good use of time for me. So, Karen, I think if you take that definition, you'll go a long way in velocity of money and keeping your money working very, very fast. So Julie said, great response to her question. Also, thank you for that.
Thank you.
John said, re the consultants delivering their part of the development in your time. I think he's trying to qualify a question that we've already answered. So that's okay. Kay Wong says, lucky husband. So well done. Felicity says, Audrey, my ex used to joke that other men's wives went shopping for handbags and clothes. He went shopping for properties. So is that what you're doing? Are you shopping for properties?
Together.
Yeah, we shop for properties, definite. We buy one and we're like on the lookout for the next one, like, woo! So
very good, very good. Vince says, hey guys, hello Vince. You've done really well with your learner projects. Organic capital growth has been on your side. I'm sure your learnings will position you well moving forward. PPI development project is icing on the cake. So more a comment than a question, but thank you, Vince. Vince is another one of our students and rocking it. So Liana says, was there a reason why you changed your strategy from apartments to townhouses?
I think it's more to do with small scale. Apartments are a lot more risk, considering that we're close to the CBD and there's apartments everywhere now. The first project itself, right next door, there were 55 apartments coming up. So there's too much competition. So we thought townhouses is the way to go because there's a requirement for townhouses within the middle suburbs of Melbourne.
Yeah, I would say if we look at, I guess, infill development and what they call the missing middle, which is an industry term talking about different kind of product sets, townhouses has still got some private space, and so you still can have small families and things like that. There's a massive demand for those sort of projects. Apartments are in many areas in oversupply. Right now, they're getting smashed in the market with regards to rents and all sorts of things like that. So I think it's a smart move that you guys did. And when we talk about scaling our projects, you can scale out or you can scale up, and you guys have chosen to scale out. So more townhouses as opposed to higher levels of units. And Zdenko says, where did you get your financial partners? Thanks. That's a secret, Zdenko. You don't want to give it away.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to answer that anyway. To date, we've actually just done it based on our servicing and also being smart the way you structure your loans, because that makes a lot of difference on how much you're able to borrow and your cash flow as well. We also did not shy away from doing, let's say, a 90% loan to value ratio, even though you have to pay mortgage insurance, because a lot of people go, I'm going to save 20%, 25%. I don't want to pay mortgage insurance, but I'm like, hey, you're paying it once for 30 years, use that cash for 30 years. And it's going to be a project expense anyway. So just do it if you have to do 90% loan to value ratio. Don't wait for in the rising property market. You don't wait to save that extra 50 or 60 or 100K. It'll take you forever. Just pay your mortgage insurance, get into the market, use that and leverage yourself back up. And from that mindset, based on Rob's course as well, it's all then about, hang on, if that's what you can do on the residential space, if you enter in the commercial, yes, you're paying more, 6%, 10%, whatever it is. But if you're going to end up making 200K and still paying a higher rate, would you not rather do that than to not make the 200K because you're chasing 3.5% or whatever it is? So in terms of funding, based on your I guess your borrowing capacity, you either go residential or don't stick to residential, go to commercial, just do something. Don't let the rates hold you back, pretty much.
Yeah, so absolutely. And from a finance perspective, it's the cost of doing business. And if you treat it as a line item on your feasibility and your feasibility still makes sense, then it's still very worthwhile doing. That's the real simple way to do it. do it. Don't be concerned at what that interest rate number says, but instead be concerned about whether or not you're still profitable. I think his questions was more around, he said financial partners. I think he means, do you have private people lending you money and that sort of thing? I think that's where his question was lending. Everyone's got different problems to solve, Zdenko's. It's whether or not, so you've got three problems you need to solve with your finance. There's deposit to purchase the property, there's serviceability to service the debt, and there's liquidity that will help you to actually fund all your consultants and application fees, etc. along the way. So depending upon the problem that you need, each person will need to solve that in a very different way. Rizwan's got a question. Have you guys ever hit borrowing ceiling? And what strategy would you adapt to increase borrowing capacity? Now, Audrey, you're a mortgage broker. This is probably right down your alley.
Yeah, so when our finance gets approved in the next couple of weeks, we would definitely be hitting our ceiling. So we can review and change our strategy and enter the commercial market where you don't really need servicing to borrow X amount of dollars. It's all based on the individual deal itself. So if you can show that the deal stacks up, the bank will lend you the money. So the deal needs to stack up. You need to show that you've done it before. And if you haven't done it before, borrow credibility from people by having mentors like Rob, and that will also help mitigate the risk because you know you are doing the right thing, you're going down the right path. So yeah, enter the commercial space. And the other thing as well that I don't want to get too much into because it gets really, really complex. But Rob has a really good way on how you structure your entities so that you have a standalone entity for the project and you close it when it's done. You can't really use that for funding because the bank goes, you have the entity, but now it's closed. I can't use the profits that you make, but you have a piggy bank entity that you set up where every time you do a project, the money goes in there. That piggy bank entity that you have, the profits, you can use it for servicing. So as you keep building your portfolio, as you start increasing your passive income, then that can increase your servicing. So 2 ways to go about it. It's up to you what you want to do.
Very good. And I can see that Raina's keeping Prasanth occupied. So we've pretty much hit the hour, guys. So I'm happy to wrap it up. There's one last question that I'll take, which will be a yes, no. Are you showing, I guess, the little one along the way, all of your plans and DAs and all that sort of thing? Are you showing her how to do this?
Before she hit the age of 2 years old, we've already moved houses 3 times, and she's been to at least 10 different auctions to date. And I tried to get her to bid at the last auction we were in, where we got the house, but she was a bit shy. But we have to start her on the journey. I mean,
Yeah.
Who better to learn from than your parents, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Leading by example. So with that, I know that I guess you guys have got to get back to her and I guess give her that quality time that you guys had promised.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time and sharing your journey with everyone out there. I want to thank everyone out at Facebook for those lovely questions, and hopefully you guys got something from Audrey and Prasanth actually sharing their journey today. And guys, it's been absolutely my pleasure helping you on your journey as well. And I am super proud, as Tony said before, as to where you're going, your perspective on things, and the professionalism that you're actually paying to this. And can't wait to see you hit that financial freedom number and add you to my list. So
thanks,
we'll get there.
and yeah, definitely thanks Rob, Tony, and even Kylie for pushing us. And whenever we are stuck, you're always there for inspiration. And any issues we have, it's always a phone call and email, and you get back to us with such creative solutions that we didn't even think about. And it's like, yep, it's worthwhile. And even with your course that we did with the fee itself, Prashant and I agreed that with our first webinar or meeting that we had together, you've already saved us more than what we spent on your course. So it's
thank you.
we are the ones that are really thankful. We were doing all right with property development, but you've accelerated it and you've given us a lot more knowledge, confidence, and so many ideas. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I also like to add, I learn a lot from this property development network community. I haven't participated as much previously, but I read a lot and I get ideas from different people. And yeah, thank you to the community.
Yes.
Yeah, the community is awesome. And that's the foundation of, I guess, where we started from is 5 mates around a kitchen table all trying to help each other out. Now it's almost 9,500 mates trying to help each other out. And if we keep paying it forward and help someone else first, then they're eventually going to help us back when we need it. So with that, folks, I'm going to say thank you very much. Love yous a lot, and we'll say goodbye to Facebook.
Thank
Bye,
you.
folks.
See you guys.
Bye.